to be a Muslim.
All officers have to be Muslims earlier, including the chief executive officer. I know that. Now it's not a Muslim. Now kindly come to registration.
Yes.
On and from the commencement of the Waqf Amendment Act, Section 36, Mullahs.
Yes.
1A, Mullahs. 36, 1 capital A. On and from the commencement of the Waqf Amendment Act, no waqf shall be created without execution of a waqf deed.
Wrong.
I'm not saying anything wrong, I'm just indicating, Mullahs. Waqf, kindly see, Mullahs, you can create a waqf by user. You don't have to have a deed. If it is my property, Mullahs, as your lordship knows, if it is my property, Mullahs, I can create a waqf. In the sense, I can allow somebody to say, have a shelter home there. I don't have to register it. It's my property, but supposing, forget about whether I'm the Muslim faith or not. Supposing my own property, I want somebody else to use it in the manner that I like. Who can interfere in that? As long as it's my property.
That's fine. Then
Why should I have to register?
there's no difficulty in that. You can register the work also because it will help you also have maintain a register of work.
No, that's another matter. But waqf by user is abolished now.
Will that not be beneficial? The question of work by user, you have an issue, we'll ask others.
But I'm just saying, waqf by user is now abolished. It's an essential part of Muslim law and Muslim faith. And it's recognized by your lordships in paragraph 1134 of the Ram Janambhoomi judgment. Your lordship, just note that. Para 1134. Which says precisely that.
There is nothing wrong if you permit somebody to use. We want to dedicate it.
Then you can.
Right. Dedicating it to Almighty. That is the concept.
That's right.
All that the section says is to avoid uncertainty, so that there is no, claim or a bogus claim. That you have a deed and portalize it.
I'm really not so much on that. Lordship is right. I'm just saying.
It will be perhaps beneficial.
Yes, yes.
In a way, it will be beneficial.
Well,
Prevent any dispute.
let's move on, Let's kindly come to
Why
7.
it's a dispute? Really speaking, until this registration becomes a means.
There's a big problem here. I tell your lordship, they'll ask us now, and I'll show those provisions to your lordships. They ask us if there's a waqf created 300 years ago, who created the waqf? Give us information as to how it was created.
No, we should
Produce the deed if you can. So, they want all that information. And many of these properties were created hundreds of years ago. How will anybody ever prove it? And then, what happens is, and I just give you a historical background, which we'll argue when the main case is being argued. When the British came over here, what they did was, all these properties, which were waqf properties, what they did in the revenue record, they said, Governor General. Now, on the basis of those revenue records, they say, if it's DDA, they say it is my property. And then, the collector will decide. So these are very serious issues that ultimately will have to be decided by a lordship. But prima facie, this is a matter because this will arise from all over the country. In every state, this will arise, which is why your lordship should take it over and hear and finally decide the matter. But let's kindly see 7A. Capital 36 7A.
Yes.
Where the collector in its report mentions that the property, wholly or in part, is in dispute. Or is a government property. Or is a government property. The waqf in relation to such property, such of the property shall not be registered unless the dispute is decided by a competent court, which could take 20 years.
The status quo as of now will maintain.
They are not saying that,
The state no.
Not under 3C, your lordship, I read that.
3C, there's a contradiction emerging between this and 3C, like us the other side. There's a contradiction emerging.
That's right.
And how will they interpolate 3C with 7A to 36? Will be an issue.
Any entity, any person, if he claims ownership to property, has
Because
to go
that
through
says anything which is government property, then 3C applies.
Yes. So how do you decide whether it's government property or not? Not
Here it says, as far as government property is concerned, it has to be decided by a competent court.
That's the point.
If the decision is that of the collector.
That can't be, it's a judge in his own cause. And that's not a judicial process.
So argue that last.
That's not a judicial process anyway, Collector's process is not a judicial process.
Collector's decision is amenable to the tribunal.
No.
It's not amenable.
No, not that the section says so.
Section specifically says.
And or means also dispute. Kindly see, or is in dispute, which means they are not sure that this is their property. So nobody can deal with it, Mullah, till such time as it is decided. So it's no longer be a waqf.
Next point, Mr.
So
Sibbal.
that's 7A, Mullah. Now kindly, then,
Subsection 10 of
subsection,
10 is the no suit, etc.
yeah, no civil court will have jurisdiction. That's right. That's the
Which
tribunal.
one is that?
Well, that's subsection
10 of 36.
10. No suit, of this section, Manas. No suit, appeal, or legal proceeding for the enforcement of any right on behalf of any work which have not been registered in accordance with the provision shall be instituted or commenced or first.
Limitation period.
Right.
Manas, that's the other very serious issue. Previously, under the 1995 Act, there's no limitation. I'll tell you, Lordship,
But
why.
limitation can be always imposed by the
No,
government.
no, I'm on.
Like before 1995, we had the limitation.
No.
Under
Limitation was done
the
up-
95 Act, there was no limitation. I'll tell you the reason why. Because many of these waqf properties were encroached upon. And therefore, Malas, in the
No,
context of
we can't really say that if you impose a period of limitation, it will be wrong, it will be unconstitutional. Limitation
No,
period-
because
Limitation Act has its advantages.
I'm not on
also.
that, Malas. I think the point I'm making is somewhat different. And the point is, Malas, that at that time, if within 2 years we did not file a suit, I can't file a suit now. Therefore, Malas, if the waqf is created, say, in the 1930s,
There was no limitation period, that means you can always file a suit.
but now it says it has to, after
Yes.
2 years.
If the work property is not registered, then you have to file a suit within 6 months and 6 months plus.
No, but these properties are not registered. These are waqfs by users, many of them. So how will I file a suit?
So we'll ask them about.
So
work
therefore,
property.
that's the other
We have
issue.
understood, we have understood.
That's the other issue, Malas. Yes, and they will claim adverse possession and encroachers will be legitimized. Encroachers will be legitimized in this process. And Malas, kindly see now 1A. That's another important page number 51, Malas.
1A or what?
1A of section 61, penalties. Sorry, it's fine. May I read that, Malas?
Yes.
It says, if a mutawalli fails to deliver possession of any waqf property if ordered by the board or tribunal, carry out the directions of the collector of the board, do any other act which he is lawfully required to do by or under this act, provide a statement of accounts under 46, upload the details of waqf, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months and also with a fine which shall not be less than 20,000.
That's in case of violation. There are so many acts. which are-
No, just
Anyway,
go to jail, Maharaj.
that's
3B, Maharaj, kindly see.
Since 90s requires.
3.3.
okay. That's all, Mr.
No,
Sibbal.
Maharaj, just one other thing. Then kindly see 85.
85.
Yes.
Yes.
No suit or other legal proceeding shall lie in any civil court, revenue court, or any other authority in respect of any dispute, question, or other matter relating to any waqf or property or other matter which is required by or under this act to be determined by a tribunal.
That this
So that there-
is a new one or
No, it was there. It was there earlier also. But there was a tribunal. The difference is that the nature of the act has been changed. Originally, everything had to be decided by the tribunal. Here they have introduced 3C, which the tribunal.
that's a.
Why not, Chief Justice? I have not forfeited my.
No, you're not forfeited, you're right.
Just to respond to one question that fell from your questions. The basis of our constitutional attack is that a waqf is essential and integral to Islam. That was the basis of our attack. And religion, and particularly charity, is an essential and integral part of Islam. The original test essential was in 54. This other aspects, my lord, Mr. Sibbal, I adopt that argument, both about the change in the nature of waqfs, the change in the composition and loss of control. Earlier, even the chief executive officer had to be Muslim, no longer. And lastly, my lord, many of these provisions are arbitrary and contrary to Article 15. That is the summation of our argument. I'm very grateful.
I just